Hey there, nerds. It's your local Netrunner Trainwreck, CTZ. And I was just genuflecting slash reflecting slash respecting the recent San Francisco Netrunner Nationals just a week ago. Thank you, everyone, for coming out. It was such a blast. And also thinking about PAX Unboxed, which is in December 6th or around there in Philadelphia. If you're not sure if you're going to go, you should go, because I'm going to go, and a bunch of other cool people are going to go, and we're going to play Netrunner and or some old dexterity testing Canadian game that no one can pronounce and has a K in the middle for some fucking weird reason. But anyways, thinking about those trips, I was really trying to boil it down and thinking about them in context to the whole boomer debacle that we're running through in all of the societies that we live in. And it's come to my attention that there was a real need for something completely subjective, but deterministically right in my own, and everyone else's opinion is wrong. And I think that I'm just going to take some time to walk through my personalized top 5 power rankings of Boomer, Uber, Lyft, or generic ride-share driver questions phrased to a Zoomer going to Roseville, Minnesota to play children's card games. Power rankings. Yes, we're going to do that. Also, because this is very much a Zoomer to Boomer relationship that we have here, I really want to respect that tone and culture choices and generational gaps. So typically with the Boomer population, these kind of power rankings really originated in late night television shows. True comedy legends like David Letterman would have oversized, typically baby blue, that sweet baby blue boy blue, note cards with little white inserts pasted on top of them with the question or sentence or topic that would be covered in those power rankings. But in an effort to really de-boomerize ourselves and save the planet, we ain't doing that today. We're going to be using real tried and true Zoomer technology, rewritable CDs. Many of you are familiar with these archaic devices now, but still linked to the Zoomer generation, as we would download music and viruses via Napster, Akaza, Pirate Bay if you were really advanced, and write them to these rewritable CDs, and of course design jewel art. We'll be reflecting and respecting those technologies and answering and reading from our questions here today. So, thanks for joining me. Today's little snippet, episode, whatever the fuck you want to call it, is sponsored by Bullet Bourbon. That's that shit with the orange label or the lime green, but kind of a darker lime green label. A much simpler labeling system when compared to the Johnny Walker system. Two-tone, really lo-fi, love it. I'm personally an orange label person, and so let's get into this, shall we? Alright, so again, remember, you just landed at MSP. You have to get to either the Radisson or that other hotel with the bed bugs that one year, or some type of secret Airbnb location with a meat locker or closet or home theatre, whatever you have. And again, you're just getting in this rideshare. You probably have some amount of friends, local metamates, or people that you strangely contacted on the internet and coordinated travel efforts with, and you're all trying to jam into the car. There's backpacks abound, people are spilling over each other, yelling loudly, and no one is really communicating with the Boomer driver, typically. And so in an effort to break the tension and really reach out and or get out some passive-aggressive comments against the youth, a typical Boomer will try and interact with the Zoomer group and usually does so in a very predictable and very highly take advantageable set of standardized questions. And so let's roll through some of my top 5 right here, power rankings. Number 1, what are you in town for? This question is fucking great because you can really gauge the level of disinterest by the boomer in how early on in the conversation they disengage. So typically, I'll try and knock them out right away. Because again, Zoomer, somewhat antisocial, absolutely don't want to talk to anyone that I don't know, and I just don't have time for it because all of my information is shoved into my stupid eyeballs at all times. I get overloaded by it, and that transforms into a whole selection of fun side effects. But typically how we start this one is the classic mathematical approach, put them to sleep. Android Netrunner is a 2-player asymmetrical card game where one person role-plays as the evil corporation trying to carry out their agenda, while the other is role-playing as a notorious hacker that is trying to thwart the corporation's agenda plans. Something of this sort. If they haven't fallen asleep by that point, I try and offer them a couple of quick facts of, Richard Garfield's second but more better for everyone else game rather than Magic the Gathering type of deal. Typically at this point, the boomer and/or boomer junior will try to scrape through the memory banks there and see if they can construct some sentence like, "Ah, yes, I used to play the Magic the Gathering tricks in college," or "Ah, yes, my niece or nephew is really into that shit, and they spent a bunch of money on MTG Arena, and my sister was just pissed about it." If you haven't been able to thwart your driver at this point, typically I just go for it as fast as possible. Cut straight to other baseline games. Such sentences as, "Connect 4, but imagine it was 7, and you sometimes rely on your opponent's mistakes and or take their points for your own points." Typically that one doesn't work. The backup method here is old maid. "Do you have an agenda?" "Yes." "Ah, I would like to take that agenda." "Do you have a tag?" "Ah, yes." Now you will take a scorched earth damage and lose with a dead brain simple stratagem. That question's really great because you can also just make shit up, frankly. Throw in different rules, compare it to different games or medias, and see what the boomer will do. Because they sometimes love to talk, and you can just let them fucking go. Number 2. What else do you do other than this game on this trip? This is a particularly risky question because it can really expose how much of a weeb board gamer you really are. So sometimes you want to be careful. Often a really cool redirection that I've used in context to the Radisson has been, yes, all of us get into the semi-boiling pool of water known as a hot tub, typically 2 to 17 people. These rates change between the hot tub, the steam room in the back, and the normal pool featuring a shitty basketball hoop and obviously 0 to 2 semi-inflated balls that will try and be placed into the loop 0 to 20 times. Usually that corresponds with your level of ABV, but if I want to come off cool, give them an answer like that. If I really want to get to the nitty-gritty and the boomer has shown interest of, yes, but what else? Often I will throw mitigation tactics such as, I'm going to go get a bunch of Taj Mahals at the India Palace and get really fucked up on $6 big beers. We're all going to go to that generic sports bar that we walk around the big curve, magically await, and then continuously order appetizers for 2 to 6 hours. And if you're really adventurous, some of y'all go to different sports games. I would never do that, aside from the one true sport, basketball. But I'll say I'll do it because, again, that can feed into the boomer energy of, yes, I must watch good screen with good points, with good people and rules or camaraderie or whatever that business is. So that's typically a fun question. Number 3. Do you play for money? A classic. Oh, oops. Slapball. A classic boomer question, really getting down to bottom line. And I understand it. Typical boomers really going into the workday, they have their meetings, they have their quarterly business reviews or reports or TPRs or LMNOPs, whatever. And a lot of those really get down to a baseline question. Show me the money. What's the baseline at? Are we in the red? Are we in the black? I just did those in an inverted fashion. But that's because that's how tech companies work. You got to spend money to have money, baby. Anyways, I love this question because really you can break the boomer soul with this one. You can go with the straight hardline answer if you really are trying to disengage. No, because these Netrunner trips cost money. Granted, we're going for the people and not the prizes, but boomers really can't understand this concept. They really want to go to get fucked up or to get something in return or fuck other people up. That's just what they operate on. What you can do in an effort as a Zoomer to try and level yourself up to a boomer answer / understanding really is yes but no. So this really applies to the kind of older worlds celebrations where a lot of these prizes were very eBayable. eBay, the only online shopping technology other than maybe baseline Amazon and or Best Buy that boomers will understand, is because they're trying to get rid of all their old shit, or at least some of it. And they do that on eBay because that's what they know and they're comfortable with. So you can really kind of get some alignment there, which is pretty nice, and show that you are somewhat incentivized by material rewards rather than the friends and times that we had along the way. But if you really, really want to fuck with a boomer and really trying to get into some specifics, again, trying to put them to sleep so you can disengage, you can kind of go with the no but yes approach. The no but yes approach really speaks to the play style of the decks that you're going to play during the main event. The kind of classic example I think about with, 2017 Worlds. This is how I might answer, is I go there to play decks that I want to play. Let's call it Cybernetics, Urban Renewal. I'm going to fuck up your round 1/2 results in the Swiss. Ultimately, that's going to make you not be able to just ID in. Ha ha ha. But that's what I'm doing as a player, is I'm really trying to mess with others and generally play what I want to play. But ultimately, you probably won't win. But again, you'll win with an unfamiliar boomer concept of friends and time along the way. You could give them the try-hard approach of no but yes, and I'm going to be the best motherfucking Netrunner person ever. Great example, again, aligning into 2017 CTM. I install the pad campaign, I install the DBS, I install the bankers, I install pad campaign 2.0, aka NASX. Do I use the additional text on it? Probably not. Because, honestly, the brain power spent in it, once you get to that point, this boomer, beautifully put to sleep. It really sounds a lot like the Charlie Brown teacher to them, so this is a very helpful disengage mitigation tactic when responding to this type of question. Getting into number 2, we wouldn't want to jump ahead of ourselves to the top most power rated answer of number 1. Now, what is going on in that backpack of yours? Aggressive on that one. This is such a great question. So, the reason that it's a very truly great question is that this is the boomers' opportunity to disrupt and dismantle the Zoomer group in front of them. So, as I said towards, the start of this mess of a conversation, All of y'all shove into a undersized Toyota Prius or an oversized Ford Windstar with a 3-star crash safety test rating. Those are your two typical vehicle offerings inside of Roseville, so let's operate under the truth. As you all get in, all your backpacks are shifting around and banging and hitting each other, and often people have deck boxes, whether it's the classic tried and true 2013 to 2015 cardboard boxes included with G&K weekend kits, or you got one of them fancy motherfuckers that's got the red velvet on the inside, that gold inscribed text that you paid too much money for at Gen Con, but hey, it's already Gen Con, you've taken a loan out to be there, so just take another one. Who fucking cares? Often with the card technology and or token system that you operate on, which is key to the disruption, a questionable amount of noise comes from this box. Cards shipping around, dice, light dice, shitty little tokens, big tokens, FFG promos, what have you. Those all shake around. And if you have a young boomer, call it a junior boomer, they still have hearing capabilities, and they can understand that that is some foreign technology. It's not just the sloshing of a liquid inside of a glass or plastic bottle. And so they can really identify with that and go, what is just going on in that backpack of yours? But what's really great is you can offer a response such as, yes, those are the decks I use to play children's card games and the Elite Dice Choice selection. Or, yes, I have really loud but way better than dice poker chip solution. Or, I'm a shitposter. I have all these little sorts of tokens that represent my credit pool, one token at a time, and they're approximately this big. And oftentimes the boomer can then turn the group against itself and say, it sounds like I'm hearing a myriad of noises here. What is the best token? And that's where the boomer can actually disengage, which is truly why it's one of my favorite questions, because they can just sit, watch, and let the Zoomers really lose themselves in the question, the selection of an answer, and truly, which is the best token solution. They'll fight over stupid characteristics of like, these look cooler, these were a top 16 prize at Gen Con 2016, I like this big D20 because, I don't know, I'm eccentric, or fucking whatever. Oftentimes, this enhances the boomer, and they'll ask follow-up questions such as, again, referring to previous questions from before, what else do you do? Really kind of introduce the silliness and trivialness of these conversations that Zoomers frankly can't handle. So that's a really, really good question. Getting to number one, the finale, the top, the cream of the crop. Who or what is the B-Dale / T-Bird's Grill? Now, if you automatically don't know what this question is, you may promptly close this video, if for some reason you're still watching at this point. If you haven't been to KOS, which is strategically and emphatically the best point of a world's trip to Roseville, Minnesota, you're missing out, and we just don't need to conversate here. But if the boomer has asked this question and you as a Zoom Zoom City Mazda can really understand and respond, this is an opportunity to really, really disrupt the boomer themselves. Because I would argue this. If a boomer is asking, what is the Bidale, or T-Bird's cafe or grill, as it's formally listed on B-Dale's website, you can really think about and say, are you a boomer? Because boomers in Roseville, Minnesota are systematically programmed to all congregate at the B-Dale Club from a very ultra-tight specific range of 5 to 7:15 p.m. That's right when they're ripe and ready for dinner. They're probably 3 to 7 drinks deep. They're absolutely avoiding home. And they all congregate together in this fashion to try to stir something up, stave off their problems at home, or really recoup against the hostileness of their workplace, but really figure out how they're going to channel the hostileness against their workplace and supreme overlords and really turn that energy against Zoomers that are trying to fundamentally change the system here. And if you can expose that a boomer really isn't one, that they aren't aware of the ritual that comes up on a daily basis at the B-Dale/T-Bird's Grill, you've really broken them and forced them to rightfully disengage from the conversation, which is goal number one, but have some real thought and festering questions within themselves. That's the power rankings, everyone. I hope this was very shitposty in nature, but perhaps you can take some time to genuflect with your local friends, meta mates, and or just, I don't know, random people on the fucking internet. If you want, add some stupid shit below of your favorite memories, because I like hearing about this stuff. And again, shout out to PAX Unboxed, Unhinged, Unclothed. Probably some combination of those three, given that it's a con happening in December. I hope to see all of y'all there. Namaste. Let's finish this one off, and I'll see you on the internet.